Samson, let me extend regards to you, to the eminent panel, and thank you for bringing my lost friend back to me, Dr. Fatau.
Yes.
Okay. It's good to be in the studio with you.
Almost everyone is happy to have him around.
Yes.
But they will be hitting me.
Yeah. Except that his comrades take the view that the position that we all held when we were active on the left, that's not what we are hearing him communicate these days. So he knows that we have some ideological issues.
I think Dr. Kenahosu sought to say, "An easy lies the head that wears the crown."
Yes.
He finds himself in quite a difficult situation.
Yes.
But what must be done ought to be done.
Yes, I mean, and what must be done should not depart from principles, should not depart from pragmatism, should not depart from what works. Look, Samson, this whole matter must be situated within the context of democracy, because it is really a lecture on democracy to Niger, in this instant case, that all of us have committed to deepening our democratic credentials. We do not want ECOWAS to return to the period of coups, where military juntas control political power, and that the popular masses should have the power to elect their leaders and to remove them when they so decide. That our good friends in uniform should focus on security, protecting our territorial integrity. That is the framework for this discussion. So I must say ab initio that we are all opposed to military takeovers. Nobody supports coups. I mean, when these coups occur, we in Parliament, we are the first casualties. All coup announcements, you will hear the phraseology, Parliament is hereby dissolved. We will instantly become unemployed. We'll be jobless. So I cannot come here and speak in favor of military takeovers.
So if nobody supports coups, nobody should encourage them and nobody should entertain them.
Exactly. Let's establish that. However, in as much as we do not support coups, we do not support military takeovers, we must recognize that some elements, and you find this happening in ECOWAS time and time again, abuse democratic opportunities. They are not empathetic to the people. They don't use good governance tools. They don't listen to the masses. They even use their democratically elected office to undermine institutions, compromise the judiciary, entrench themselves, engage in what you may want to call constitutional coups. And that has been the bane in the sub-region. You look at the continent today and those who are spearheading this. I heard President Ouattara say that he was the first to announce that his troops are ready. President Ouattara, who is on his third term, who amended his constitution. There was no condemnation. His peers went to his inauguration and congratulated him. Macky Sall is the second leader who has said that he is ready. He has even said that his money is ready, even though he has not gone to Parliament.
I thought he has renounced that.
It's Cape Verde.
Okay.
No,
it's Macky Sall, right?
No.
He's retracted that.
Macky Sall has renounced.
He's renounced that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Now he has, yes.
Okay.
So, but he was the second after Ouattara. Now, what is Macky Sall's current democratic credentials? But for, and I must commend Dr. Fatau, appointing Goodluck Jonathan and his colleagues, the West Africa Elders Forum, going to negotiate. He was very close to installing himself as a third-term president. Today, he is delivering lectures to Niger. So ECOWAS has a credibility crisis. I agree with Professor Eni. You see, right from the outset, when ECOWAS was established in 1975, even the host of that establishment conference, General Gowon, was not a Democrat. Few months thereafter, he was overthrown. 6 leaders at that meeting were military dictators. Few years after, 8 other countries had coups. Indeed, if you look at the ECOWAS membership, only 2 countries have not had coups. Only Cape Verde and Senegal. So you can understand the quagmire ECOWAS finds itself in. Credibility crisis, lacking the moral right. All of these countries, when coups happen, the Nigerians will tell you, why was there not an intervention? If you do the counting, since ECOWAS was established in 1975, there has been about 126 coups. Over the last 3 years, there have been 6 coups already. 2 in Mali, 2 in Burkina Faso. So there's a real credibility crisis. And this attempt to now say, you see, we must be hardlined, we must use force, and that will serve as a deterrent. I am afraid. I take a totally different view. I do not think that military intervention is what will stem the tide. Rather, they should look at the causative factors. All of this bad leadership, people using democracy to entrench themselves, to kill their people. Look at how many opposition leaders have been imprisoned in Senegal, how many protesters have been shot in Senegal by a democratically elected leader. Look at the state of unemployment on the continent. Look at the state of corruption. Niger, if you look at all the UN multidimensional poverty analysis, is below the ladder, the poorest. And yet they have uranium. Yet they have this pipeline which others are leveraging to advance their economic interests. And the masses, will you believe that about 80% of the people in Niger don't have access to electricity? Can you believe that? Basic amenities. And only a few elites enjoy. Once they go into these negotiations and their family cronies get a good piece of the pie, the rest can go to hell. Then the elephant in the room, if you look at this new wave of coups, they are all happening in Francophone Africa. We must be honest to have a discussion about the French hegemony in the sub-region. This Charles de Gaulle pact must give way. There is great resentment on the continent against this influence of France. As we all say, the French never left. The Brits, if you look at the decolonization, the disengagement, they left fully, we became Republican status and all of that. You can't say same of the French. But I must add, though, that in as much as a Pan-Africanist, I am against any form of oppression, any form of colonization. I denounce what is happening now, where people are chanting down with France and yet are flying Russian flags. Don't move from one master to another. We must find a Pan-African solution to our economic crisis. Absolutely. We must have an African solution. In as much as I will criticize this whole French hegemony, I also don't want a new Russian hegemony or a new Russian empire to be created. Yeah. And that is why I must condemn the role of Wagner in all of these coups. Okay. And you see the Wagner leader already pledging support. But now back to Parliament. We are opposed to this military intervention because fundamentally, we are appalled at how heads of states treated our Parliament. They rushed to go and make this July 30 declaration, we are going to intervene. Then 10th August, they did the same, without engaging our parliaments. Nigeria took strong exception. Their senators on their own. It wasn't even President Tinubu who went there with his plan in Niger. They, as a Senate, decided to discuss this matter and pass a resolution. And that was a slap in the face of Tinubu. It was embarrassing. And already, many have followed. All the northern governors have issued statements that they don't support this deployment. How is he going to do this deployment without the support of the Nigerian people? We've seen
looking at the border.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
direct impact on Nigeria.
On Nigeria.
The northern...
And the control of these northern governors.
Yes, the northern senators are concerned because there are about 4 or how many, 6 states within Nigeria that directly is impacted.
And they are virtually the same people, cousins, relatives, intermarriages, and all of that. It's going to be so complex. Senegal, same. Their parliament had to delve a blow to Macky Sall. So you are lecturing Niger on democracy. You yourself, you are not practicing democratic credentials. You should have engaged your parliaments before you go and make a final determination. Carry the people along. That is why you see that these leaders have been left alone. This is a very unpopular decision. Go to the streets of Africa.
Leaders are allowed to take decisions and seek ratification, so to speak.
Even that, under Article 75, we know how the ratification must be sought. The Gitmo decision is very clear. Have they done that? Parliament is being treated with contempt. We are now, amongst us, discussing, we want to go the Nigerian way, discussing activating Order 38 of our standing orders so that 15% of MPs can trigger a recall of Parliament, and then the Speaker will be forced
when I use
within 7 days.
ratification, I'm talking in the loose general business sense of, say, company law.
Okay.
Where because you have a CEO, they have to deal with certain things under certain emergencies. You give them a certain room to operate.
But you see,
then they come back to you and say, I have gone to commit to ABC. I suppose that this should be in the interest of this country. Please now give me the power to continue. So when you have a fluid situation and they go for meetings and take these decisions, you don't say that is so wrong. They need to first come and seek parliamentary, sort of approval before they are able to. Otherwise, they will be robotic.
You see, let's not make excuses. You see, we are talking about democracy, how we want to entrench and deepen democracy. We have seen what happens in all over the place, best practice. When last year the Russians invaded Ukraine, we saw how all Ukraine's Western allies, immediately they convened their parliaments. It's not in their constitutions even expressly. Some of those countries don't even have written constitutions, like the UK. But best practice, democracy, you must engage the people. Immediately they convene meetings. All the support that has gone to Ukraine, the $75 billion from the US Congress has approved every peso. The House of Commons, the over 12 billion pounds that has gone to Ukraine. Every pound, every penny approved by the House of Commons. All the EU countries, the 35 billion euros, pardon me, all approved by EU member parliaments.
Exactly my point. So this is not happening before the action.
No, it happened before they went there. But I'm saying that even if it could not happen before because of the exigencies of time, they have been back since the 30th of July.
That's right.
What are they waiting for? Article 75 is very clear. The president may execute or cause to be executed treaties, agreements, or conventions in the name of Ghana. A treaty, agreement, or convention executed by or under the authority of the president shall be subject to ratification by A, act of parliament, or B, a resolution of parliament supported by the votes of more than 1/2 of all members of parliament. So Article 75 is very clear. The Gitmo decision is very clear by our Supreme Court. What is the president waiting for? And that is why when the ministers of national security, defense, the interior, and foreign affairs appeared before the Joint Committee of Foreign Affairs and Interior and Defense, we made clear that we expect them to call a plenary meeting and present to us whatever agreement, whatever plan they have for Niger. The other matter relates to the finances. We have heard all kinds of fantastic figures in excess of $2.7 billion. I have here the budget approved for this year. The contingency vote for Ghana is 1.4 billion cedis, but we slashed it by half. What was finally approved was about 700 million. Knowing the spending patterns of this government, I know that 700 million, not much is left already. So they cannot hide under the contingency vote. They would have to come to Parliament. When are they going to come to Parliament? Are they going to spend without parliamentary approval? That is a gross violation of Article 178 of the Constitution. And we are not going to accept that. So we are trying to lecture others on democracy. Let us act democratically. Then you see, there are also serious logistical issues that have to be discussed. I have heard from reliable sources that they need a force of not less than 50,000 troops. Dr. Fatai say he can confirm or deny. I know that some of these tactical things may not be spoken
We'll
to.
ask him that.
You know, so far, we have just about what? A pledge of 800 to 1,100 from Ivory Coast. If you really look at ECOWAS today, it's Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Ivory Coast. When we decided to set up the security fund to support the Accra initiative, to fight the extremists, the insurgents who are taking over the sub-region, only 2 countries contributed. Nigeria, $20 million, Ghana, $5 million. The rest say we should give them time. So Nigeria is stretched already with Boko Haram. Tinubu doesn't have support. Ivory Coast, they say they can do only 1,000. Senegal, I know that they have received a juicy offer from the Americans to send their troops to Haiti to support the American intervention there, because Haiti is totally getting out of control. They are likely to accept that. That's left with Ghana. How are we going to get those numbers? So even logistically, practically, so I think that there's been a lot of us. I think Professor Enin put it very nicely that in Africa, elders don't make mistakes, elders don't get it wrong. So we are just seeing, it's a lot of half and puff, honestly. I don't see how financially. And you see, Dr. Fatal made a statement that, you know, we are going to fund this ourselves, but if our partners or allies want to support us, well, that's up to them. I really would have wished that ECOWAS declares directly, unequivocally, that we will not welcome support from anywhere because of the nature of this crisis. Look, we are going to face a geopolitical proxy battle on our hands.
We'll deal with that aspect of it as well.
And if I can just conclude in 30 seconds. So, if you receive money from the French, what is their interest? How is this going to be seen by the Russians and by all those other countries who are having tensions? Algeria, Libya, and all these insurgents who have issues, you know, with the French. So look, we are in a very difficult place. The only option is to go according to the wisdom of Article 40C of Ghana's constitution. Article 40C is very clear that in its dealings with other nations, the government shall promote respect for international law, treaty obligations, and the settlement of international disputes by peaceful means. That is the advice in our constitution, that we should use peaceful means. So we come back to the use of diplomacy, constructive dialogue. That is our best option in this matter. Peaceful means, as the Ghanaian constitution admonishes.
Thank you very much. And that was Samuel Kudjeto Ablakwa.